Yeah, for sure. Bro, both Jake and I were. There's not... Are you kidding me? There's no such thing as a more quintessential villain than the fucking 2017 Paul brothers. Like, what were we doing? But I have an answer.
He dominated YouTube. He built a brand. He became a mainstream name. Then the cracks started showing, slowly, quietly, in ways most people didn't notice. But this isn't just hype or rumors. Logan Paul's empire is facing challenges that could change everything. And it all comes down to one uncomfortable truth. His reputation is quietly falling apart. In this video, we'll uncover the real reasons Logan Paul's reputation is quietly unraveling. Backlash and creator conflict. When influencers turn on Logan. Logan Paul's journey as one of the internet's most prominent personalities has always been marked by fans and critics alike. But recent years have seen a notable increase in public conflict with other creators, not all of which directly involve his core content. A recent flashpoint occurred on Paul's popular podcast, Impulsive. Clips from a 2025 episode featuring guest Steve Will Do It went viral when Paul's co-host Mike Majlak and Paul appeared to push back on behavior that many online viewers interpreted as taking advantage of an intoxicated guest. Fellow influencer Bryce Hall publicly called out Paul for this incident, a rare moment of direct criticism from within the creator community itself, not just from anonymous fans. Hall accused Paul of taking advantage of Steve Will Do It in that episode and positioned the episode as evidence of a broader pattern of exploitative conduct.
Because you said it's an honor for us to have you. Are you saying it's an honor to be on?
It's an honor for me to be on there with you guys. So I really appreciate you. I look up to you, Logan. For real.
Are you gonna?
What are you doing?
No, I look up to you.
Yeah,
no, but the
what are you
show's
doing
not
with the
over.
mic?
I'm done with it. Yeah, I love you.
Is that it? The show's over?
Oh, that's it.
This type of backlash matters because it comes from creative peers, influencers who operate in the same ecosystem Paul helped define. When someone like Hall frames an incident as not just unprofessional but ethically questionable, it influences how audiences interpret Logan's behavior outside of staged content. These narratives tend to stick particularly on platforms like TikTok, Twitter, X, and Reddit, where short video clips are circulated and often divorced from broader context, accelerating reputational damage quickly. Compounding this is that Paul's fanbase, once considered fervently loyal, has shown signs of fracturing as controversies accumulate. Rather than a single scandal drawing attention, it's the cumulative nature of disagreements, call-outs, and disputes with peers that creates a broader impression of instability or poor judgment in Paul's relationships with fellow creators. In the world of influencer reputation, peer perception can be an early indicator of larger reputational shifts. When other well-known creators openly question Paul's actions, it reverberates through creator networks and can erode the almost automatic trust his name once commanded, even among casual fans. And that's where the criticism stops being background noise and starts shaping his future. But this didn't start with Prime. It started years earlier, when his creator conflicts first signaled cracks in public trust. Prime Hydration, from meteoric rise to litigation and decline. Prime Hydration, the beverage brand co-founded by Logan Paul and fellow influencer musician KSI, was once a defining example of the commercial potential of influencer-driven products. In 2023, Prime surged to major retail success, even topping major competitors at some points and breaking through mainstream distribution channels with sponsorships and widespread youth appeal. However, the narrative around Prime over the past year has been far more complicated. After a period of intense hype and viral marketing, retail sales have significantly declined, with reports indicating the hydration drink's popularity has waned since 2023 and resulting in discontinued products in some markets.
Yeah, Prime Hydration. Truthfully, this is probably the most promising fruit of my labor.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is the quintessential thing that embodies everything I've built.
Public perception of the brand's downturn has been compounded by a series of legal challenges and controversies that have brought Prime further into the spotlight, and not always positively. In 2024 and 2025, Prime and its operators faced multiple lawsuits, from claims about forever chemicals in the drink to contractual breaches with suppliers. Paul himself took to social media to dismiss the chemical claims as baseless, emphasizing industry-standard manufacturing and challenging the legitimacy of the lawsuit. Another ongoing matter involves a trademark dispute with Lionel Messi's hydration brand, Mass Plus, in which legal filings alleged Prime's tactics in pursuing the case bordered on harassment. Paul even controversially suggested settling the dispute with a boxing match, a remark that captured headlines for its spectacle rather than substance. The broader commercial picture suggests that Prime, like many influencer-led brands, may have been built more on viral enthusiasm than long-term consumer loyalty. Once the novelty wore off, Prime's retail performance appeared less sustainable, and legal and regulatory challenges have added friction to brand momentum. While sponsorships and partnerships remain part of the brand's story, the contrast between early hype and today's challenges underscores how rapidly an influencer-powered product can pivot from excitement to scrutiny. And that's where Prime's story stops being about drinks and starts being about credibility. The question isn't whether Logan can hype a brand, it's whether he can deliver on promises his fans actually invest in. Cryptozoo, liquid, and unfinished business. One of the stronger threads in the narrative of Logan Paul's shifting public reputation is his involvement in crypto-related ventures, particularly the now infamous Cryptozoo project, an NFT-based blockchain game that promised users the ability to breed, trade, and earn from virtual creatures. When Cryptozoo launched, it generated significant interest, fueled by Paul's reach and frequent social media promotion. However, the project never delivered the promised interactive gaming experience, and its tokens plummeted in value, leaving many early investors sharply disappointed. A class action lawsuit was filed alleging fraud, breach of contract, and negligence by the project's creators, including Paul. While Paul's legal team challenged aspects of these claims, the case drew widespread attention and criticism.
They had seen this story he had been telling everyone that he was this reformed influencer, right? That he was no longer a reckless clout goblin just in it for the money. They thought this time it's different. Logan Paul couldn't possibly scam us.
In early 2024, Paul pledged to relinquish his stake, refund millions, and finish the project, indicating some responsiveness to Backlash. But long-term community trust was already strained, as investors complained of vague communication and delays. Many posted frustration in forums about the lack of updates and engagement from Paul's team, suggesting a vacuum of ownership that further eroded confidence. Beyond Cryptozoo, other Paul-associated blockchain ventures like Liquid Marketplace also showed signs of stagnation. Engagement dropped, chat communities thinned, and Paul himself stopped public commentary about the platform months ago, a silence that industry observers interpret as diminishing commitment. The broader pattern, launching ambitious crypto concepts and stepping back when momentum slows, has become a recurring critique. Online commentators and dedicated critics like investigative YouTubers documented the history of these projects and publicly questioned Paul's role, response, and willingness to address failings transparently. Collectively, these crypto controversies have introduced a narrative of unfulfilled promises and investor dissatisfaction into Paul's public persona. For segments of his audience and broader crypto communities, this has translated into skepticism about his business leadership and authenticity, contributing to reputational headwinds beyond typical entertainment controversies. Because once trust is broken at scale, rebuilding it is the hardest business of all. That sounds like a brand evolution, but the consequence is stark. If fans and investors turn away, there's nowhere to land. WWE and YouTube identity shift. I'm not a YouTuber anymore. Logan Paul's public persona has undergone a marked transformation over the past few years, from YouTube prankster to mainstream athlete and entertainer. This shift is not just rhetorical, it's reflected in his recent career decisions and public statements. In a 2025 interview and subsequent appearances, Paul openly stated that he no longer considers himself primarily a YouTuber, signaling a deliberate repositioning toward professional wrestling and entertainment. This repositioning was most clearly underscored in January 2026, when Paul announced on his vlog that he had signed a new long-term full-time contract with WWE. The announcement emphasized his intention to fully commit to wrestling as his primary professional focus moving forward, a notable departure from the part-time crossover role he had previously occupied between YouTube content creation and WWE appearances.
I was destined for this. I was absolutely destined to be the best wrestler in the WWE, and man, everyone can call me a part-timer or whatever they want, but my work speaks for itself.
Paul's pivot isn't simply about branding, it is tied to the broader arc of his career trajectory. In past years, his channels and social media accounts were dominated by a mix of daily vlogs, stunts, and business promotions. But as his business ventures, particularly Prime Hydration, became less viral and more legally complex, Paul leaned more heavily into WWE as a stable platform for visibility and revenue. His positioning of Impulsive, his long-running podcast, has also shifted toward integration with established entertainment networks like WWE and Fanatics, giving it an expanded distribution outside traditional YouTube channels. This transition, while strategic, also reveals reputational tensions. On one hand, Paul is attempting to shed his early career image tied to YouTube antics and controversies. On the other, wrestling fans and the broader public sometimes receive this shift skeptically, at times framing it less as evolution and more as retreat from the platform where he built his fame. Moreover, some observers and wrestling purists have criticized Paul's fast track to prominent WWE storylines as privileging celebrity status over long-term wrestling credibility, which can further blur how audiences perceive his legitimacy within the sport. However, it's clear that Paul's declared identity shift reflects a long-term recalibration of his career. By positioning himself squarely within WWE and established entertainment infrastructures, he is seeking to craft a persona less reliant on the unpredictability of social media virality and more rooted in traditional media and performance. Because if this move fails, there's no platform left to fall back on. People can cheer the WWE deal as a new chapter, but the evidence is in lawsuits, declining sales, and mounting public scrutiny. Legal battles and brand headaches, Prime's growing pains. One of the most consequential arenas influencing Logan Paul's reputation over the past few years has been the legal and regulatory challenges facing Prime Hydration, the beverage brand he co-founded with fellow influencer KSI. Once heralded as a generational influencer-led brand, Prime has increasingly become synonymous not just with sales figures, but with lawsuits and public scrutiny. Prime's legal entanglements run across several fronts. One of the most widely reported blemishes was the Forever Chemicals lawsuit, which alleged that certain Prime drink formulations contained excessive levels of per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS. This case went viral across social media and generated widespread questioning of the product's safety, prompting Paul to publicly refute the claims and attempt to clarify the science in social posts.
Plus people that were trying to sue me in the class action lost. And then obviously the big one, the court recommends defendant Paul's motion to dismiss be granted as to all counts and all 27 of plaintiff's claims be dismissed. And I guess I'm just like grateful. I'm really grateful that the truth came out.
Beyond this, Prime faced a substantial breach of contract lawsuit from an ingredient supplier seeking $13 million in damages. The suit claimed Prime had failed to uphold agreed-upon payment and delivery terms, citing heavy inventory and cancelled orders as evidence. Such contractual disputes draw attention to operational and supply chain issues rather than purely consumer-facing product concerns. Moreover, Prime's trademark dispute with Lionel Messi's hydration brand, Mass Plus, escalated into accusations of harassment from the Messi camp amid the ongoing case. Part of the contention involved Prime's legal demands for Messi's personal appearance at settlement proceedings, a move the opposing legal counsel described as burdensome and seemingly designed to apply pressure, even prompting Paul to jokingly propose a boxing match to resolve the feud publicly. These legal entanglements have reverberated beyond courts and into public perception. Lawsuits are by nature complex and often technical, but when they involve high-profile brands driven by influencer personalities, they become fodder for social media commentary, skepticism about business acumen, and questions about ethical practices. For a brand that once soared on viral demand, these challenges contribute to reputation friction, not just for the product, but for Paul as a business leader. At the same time, Prime continues to secure partnerships and visibility, such as sponsorships within WWE, indicating that while legal noise persists, the company still holds commercial value in strategic arenas. Taken together, Prime's legal and operational challenges reveal the complex balance between influencer-driven brand hype and the realities of sustaining long-term consumer business credibility. For Logan Paul, these thorny episodes underscore that while virality can launch a brand, navigating legal and regulatory landscapes remains indispensable for lasting reputation, an area where public missteps can resonate far beyond a single social post. And that's where Logan Paul's business image stops being theoretical and starts being tested. Logan Paul didn't fail overnight. He's navigating the fallout of fame, business missteps, and public scrutiny. His story asks something uncomfortable. What happens when the empire you built starts testing your limits? Maybe the reinvention isn't optional, it's inevitable. What do you think? Share your thoughts below.